A beautiful landscape here in Ebensee in Austria. Today and 45 years ago in May 1945 when war ends. But the US soldiers of the 3rd Mechanized Cavalry Group had still to do a horrible discovery.
We arrived in town in Ebensee, and we were at the Hotel Post, and thought we were going to celebrate the end of the war, and the celebration was about to begin, and the women and children began running and screaming, and the word was that the prisoners had broke out of the lager and they were coming to town.
I was the commanding officer of F Company, a tank company in the 3rd Cavalry Squadron. My commanding officer told me to take Ebensee and hold it. And when we arrived, we discovered that there was a concentration camp. The point of my company, which was composed of 2 tanks, were the first people at this gate. And the one tank was commanded by Sergeant Piemonte and the other by Sergeant Persinger. And they were actually the first 2 people to arrive at this gate with 2 of Company F's tanks.
There was no resistance of any kind, and we drove up from the road, down the road, and came right up to the camp. And then I heard a number of different languages and this horrible scenes that I saw. I couldn't believe.
And Persinger was in the lead tank, and he leaned over and took the rifle out of one of the guards' their hands, broke it over his gun turret of the tank, and then hung it over the light of the gate. The gate swung open, they rolled inside and went in to the Appellplatz, which is the roll call square as I call it, and they stopped their tanks there. Both Persinger and Piemonte were in the turrets, and Persinger lit up a lucky strike, and I stood right, I had run with the tanks along into the camp, and so I shouted up, "It's been a long time since I've had a lucky strike," and Persinger said, "You speak English?" And I, with my gall, said yes.
But I did hear one man speaking English. As I was lighting a cigarette, he said that it was a long time since he'd smoked a lucky strike. So I told him to come to my tank and I would give him one. When I did, the cigarette was very strong. He was so weak that he almost passed out. And then we got off of our tanks and we walked around. He toured us around the camp.
It was absolutely unbelievable. I could not visualize a civilized country doing what was being done to the men in the concentration camp. There were piles of dead bodies, hundreds and hundreds of men who couldn't possibly live, who were slowly dying of malnutrition and disease.
It's taken 45 years to get back here. It's such a long way. Our Army outfit, the 3rd Cavalry, has a reunion every year. We started planning for this 2 years ago, and so finally it has come. What a wonderful day.
Turn to your right there, Bob.
And in this place where we stand today, the former concentration camp of Ebensee, it was also the men of the 3rd U.S. Mechanized Cavalry who have joined us today exactly 45 years after they helped to drive the tyranny and oppression from this land. In remembrance of this deed, it gives me great pleasure to take part in the unveiling ceremony of the memorial plaque today. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Danke schön.
It should be given to Captain Brennan here, right behind you, sir. Then be ready to receive the flag.
Scoot behind you.
It's a great pleasure to present this flag to you. And thank you for what you and your men did 45 years ago to make today possible for all of us. Thank you.
Thanks to the U.S. Army.